Hello, everyone. This is Michael Justin Lee, the president of the Ivy Dream. On today's episode of Aspire, we are very happy to welcome Subham Kedia, a first year student in Wharton's MBA program. Welcome, Shubham.
Hey, Michael, thank you so much for having me.
It's our great pleasure. Shubham, to start, may we ask you to tell our audience about your educational progression starting as a child?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in West Bengal and I did my uh, schooling up until high school from a small city called Siliguri, which is in West Bengal, India. And then I moved to Kota, Rajasthan to prepare for the IIT JEE exam. And I was in Kota, Rajasthan for 2 years preparing for the exam. After preparing for the exam for 2 years, I joined the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, where I was a chemical engineer. So I graduated from IIT Kharagpur as a chemical engineer in 2017, and then I went on to do my master's from Columbia University as a master's in operations research candidate. Um, I did that and I graduated from Columbia University in February of 2019. And then I worked in the industry for 5 years after my graduation from Columbia, and now I'm a first year MBA student at Wharton.
I see. Shubham, did you have a clear goal in mind when you applied to IIT?
Yeah, so I was in my ninth grade and I was really excited about maths and physics and chemistry, so all the science subjects specifically. And then I came to know about this prestigious program or prestigious institute, the IITs of India. And I knew that I wanted to do something really aspirational, something from a government school, so that I could get the top education of the country. Um, so I decided in my 10th grade that I wanted to go to Kota, Rajasthan, because that is the place where most students who want to get into an IIT go. So that's what I did. But I would definitely say that I was not sure, as it is always the case for many aspiring students, that I would get into an IIT, because getting into an IIT is really really difficult. But I definitely it was my aspiration from my ninth grade to do engineering and get into an IIT.
Shubham, after you completed your degree in chemical engineering, what brought you to Columbia to study operations research?
Yeah. So I was 21 at the time when I was graduating from IIT Kharagpur, and I had a I had a decent I would say GPA when I was graduating, and I didn't want to continue. I didn't want to continue in the corporate environment in India at the time. I really wanted to study more, get some more exposure to an international atmosphere, uh, where I had some more exposure to, I would say, cutting edge technologies, what is going around in the world, and so on. Um, so I decided that I would definitely apply to various institutions across the world. So I applied to London, I applied to Singapore, I applied to Australia, and I applied to United States as well. And at the time when I was applying, I was not really sure which country I would want to go to, but I definitely knew that I definitely want to pursue a master's degree, and that's what I realized when I got an admit from Columbia, that this is an Ivy League school. The exposure would be phenomenal in terms of education, in terms of the network that I'll be building, in terms of the opportunities that I'll be getting after I graduate. And it'll just double down on my education from an IIT, which is already quite recognized in the United States. And that's when I decided to join Columbia for my master's in operations research.
Shubham, what was your professional goal in deciding to study operations research specifically?
Since my childhood, I always wanted to understand how I can use the theories that I've learned in school and in my undergrad, and how can I implement them to create impact, and how do I implement them from a business perspective. Uh, and I wanted to do operations research because operations research was one field where there is a lot of mathematics and statistics involved, but the field deals with how can you create an impact into organizations. So how can you use and leverage large quantities of data, and then use computational power and the power of statistics and mathematics to arrive at solutions which are very nuanced and give you an edge in terms of operations, in terms of supply chain, in terms of marketing, and in terms of finance and so on. Um, and I think operations research is a very unique field because it takes into account not just the constraints from a theoretical standpoint, but it also takes into account the constraints from a business standpoint while arriving at decisions. And I knew that I had a background in chemical engineering, which already provides me a lot of bandwidth and a lot of what do you call it, knowledge in maths. So I knew that operations research would be a field which is at the right intersection of technology, innovation, engineering background, and business, and I could implement that in real life.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting indeed. Upon graduating from Columbia, you mentioned that you worked for a few years. What did you do at that time?
So I always wanted to do consulting since I joined my master's program. It was one of the jobs and one of the areas that was very interesting because of multiple reasons. Uh, so I did consulting immediately after graduating from Columbia for 3 years at McKinsey and Company. And after working at McKinsey for 3 years, I did growth strategy for a company called ConnectWise, which is owned by Thoma Bravo, a private equity firm, for about 2 years. And the reason I did these two jobs was because of my interest in working with high profile individuals who are in the C level, who are in the executive level of different companies. And specifically at McKinsey, I was able to work on various problems, various projects in the field of finance, in the field of operations, and in the field of analytics with very senior people in the industry. This gave me exposure to projects that the industry was not even thinking about, or few companies were not even thinking about, and we are solving these problems at a daily level or at a day-to-day level, which was really exciting. And moving on to growth strategy, I was working with the almost the chief executive officer, because I was a part of the growth strategy team, which was led by a chief strategy officer at ConnectWise, who was also a Wharton alumni, coincidentally. So it was a great experience working in the executive level at such a younger age.
Yes, that is very interesting and very surprising, even. But having had such great experience, why did you feel that an MBA would be proper at that time?
I wanted to explore the world of entrepreneurship. I had worked in the corporate America for about 5 years, in getting experience in the top firms out there, and I wanted to do something more impactful and meaningful. And I started a company in 2022 with my co-founder, which is called Alokya. It is a functional art brand that collaborates with South Asian rural artisans to handcraft premium products that are aimed at uplifting the community while also ensuring that the different folk art forms of India are alive. And I wanted to grow that company into a full-fledged organization that is focusing on environmental and social impact while creating products that are useful and pragmatic. And that's the reason I decided to pursue an MBA from Wharton, to get the right resources in terms of network, in terms of the professors, the faculty, and other entrepreneurial resources such as the incubator, the startup challenge, and so on. So it allowed me. My goal was to make sure that I'm getting all these resources in a very structured manner rather than going out in the world and chasing them myself. And that's what I decided, that 2 years at Wharton would be a great experience to just figure out, if this idea would work, taking that risk, but at the same time studying at a prestigious institution, which will allow me to be successful in the long run.
Yes, that's great. Let's go deeper into your endeavor. But first, let's talk about your decision to attend business school. When, in the course of your career, when did you start thinking that it would be something you'd like to do? Was it as early as Columbia, or during your time in McKinsey, or after McKinsey?
So after my time at McKinsey is what I would say. I definitely not when I was at Columbia, or definitely not when I was at McKinsey. After leaving McKinsey, when I joined ConnectWise, I I was facing, I would say, this contention where should I continue progressing in the corporate world, taking the ladder one step at a time, or do I want to break the barrier and do something which is which will probably involves a lot of risk, but also involves a lot of exponential growth. And I think that's when I decided after a year at ConnectWise that I want to be in an atmosphere where the learning is phenomenal. I'm a person which always prioritizes learning and development, and the best option was to get into an MBA program at a top school, um, and work with individuals, in different fields. Like, for example, there are people at Wharton who are interested in marketing. There are people at Wharton who are interested in finance, in operations, in private equity, in investment banking. It is just not possible. It was just not possible for me working at ConnectWise to get exposure to all these fields. And I decided that, okay, at Wharton I'll learn the nuances of different fields while I'll be working on my own startup. So I'll be getting the knowledge of pretty much a breadth of knowledge of pretty much every field out there in the world, and probably meet some really smart people who have graduated from Wharton as well.
Yes, of course. That is wonderful. Shubham, when you were writing your Wharton application, did you have in mind this the entrepreneurial endeavor that you mentioned, or did you write more generally?
Yeah, very good question. This is something that I always advise people. I definitely focused on what I wanted to do, and I didn't follow the stereotype of writing an essay, which would fit to the palette of the admissions committee. I believed that I would definitely write an essay, and I wrote the essay which showcased what I wanted to do as a person, as an individual, even if that meant that I would not get in. And Fortunately, I got in, but I definitely focused on what I wanted to do in terms of growing my startup Alokya, how I wanted to do that, by using the resources at Wharton. What are the things that I would contribute to the community at Wharton that I had already done in my previous, I would say, education and experience. And I definitely focused on, my like long run entrepreneurial endeavors, even if Alokya was not successful. But my goal was to showcase the admissions committee how passionate I am about entrepreneurship and innovation.
Shubham, in terms of your application process, after deciding upon the topic that you would write on, did you do a lot of homework as to which school in particular would be best for you?
Yes, I definitely did a lot of research on which school would be best for me, uh, and I focused on the schools accordingly. And I came up with a list of 7 schools that I thought would be the best, and I applied to those schools.
Was it difficult getting letters of recommendation at your stage of your career?
So it was not difficult for me to get recommendations at my stage in my career, because I had already 5 years of experience, and I had made sure that I had built very strong connections with people that I worked with. I've always prioritized, developing relationships in a professional environment as well. Um, so I was fortunate enough to, having stayed connected with the people at McKinsey, and the people at ConnectWise, and maintain the strong bonds and to get the recommendation. And surprisingly, I actually got recommendations for each of the schools that I applied to in my MBA program from the alumni that graduated from that school. So if I applied to Wharton, there was a Wharton alumni who was recommending me in one of their letters of recommendation. If I applied to Harvard, there was a Harvard alumni who graduated from HBS recommending me to Harvard. And I really feel that this is a privilege that I got because of working at McKinsey and ConnectWise.
Oh, that is excellent. That is a great way to actually have done the letters of recommendation. Shubham, let's turn to another facet of the Wharton application. Unique to Wharton is their team case study as part of the interview process. How did you prepare for that one?
So, in order to prepare for the team case study, I did a couple of mocks with the admissions consulting firm that I was working with, and given I was working in an environment where I had to interact a lot with people on a daily basis for problem solving and critical thinking, it came to me a little bit naturally as well. Uh, to make sure that I was working with this team in the team-based interview as my colleagues, and trying to solve a problem rather than just taking it as an interview. I thought of it as a mindset of where this is a process which where I will enjoy, and I'll contribute, and not just be stressed about as an interview that I need to crack. And I think that was one of the key aspects of this particular team based round.
Were you the kind of person who was naturally comfortable speaking in front of other people?
Yeah, I think so. I've been very extroverted since my undergrad, and I love talking to people and building those connections and talking about areas or sectors that people are interested in. I generally try to read a lot of news, read a lot of different articles which are trendy in terms of gadgets or in terms of social media, in terms of advertising, in terms of brands and so on. So it's very natural for me to have a conversation with people when I meet them.
Very much like me, actually. Shubham, in your year, was the GMAT required?
Yes, the GMAT was required.
How did you prepare for that, and when did you start preparing for that?
So for the GMAT, I started preparing since February of the year that I applied to in the round one. So, for example, I applied to Wharton in September of 2022 as a round one applicant. So I started preparing for the GMAT in February of 2022, and I prepared for the GMAT for about 3 to 4 months, and gave the GMAT for the first time in May, using the and I prepared for that using the official GMAT guide that they have on the website that they give you when you register. So I used those, and in the first time that I gave the GMAT, I did not get a high score, and the reason being that I was not checking the answers that I had gotten right while I was practicing. I was only checking the answers that were wrong, and so I did not know actually which answers were like why I was getting the answers right. So what I did, changed the strategy in my second attempt. So I was when I was preparing, when I was practicing, even though I had gotten the answers right, I definitely used to review the methodology of arriving at those answers to make sure that the logic that I was following was correct, and that's what gave me a really good edge. And I was able to get a really good score in my second attempt.
When you were writing your essays, did you have a set plan for how and how long you would take to write them all?
Yeah, so when I was writing my essays, I definitely had a plan from, I would say, the entire application standpoint, not just the essay standpoint. So I had to apply to a set number of schools. So I had divided my time accordingly. I knew the top priorities were to apply to Harvard, Stanford, and Wharton, and I made sure that I was spending 15 days each for these applicants end to end, and that meant that there were the application questions that you had to write, the essays that you had to write, and other things that are part of the application that you need to submit on the portal. So I made sure that the essays took the majority of the time. So if I was 15 days were allocated to Harvard or Stanford or Wharton, there were about, like, let's say 10 days that were allocated to writing an essay, or writing both the essays, if you will, if there are some schools which have two essays. So, and I was working very closely with my admissions consultant to make sure that I was on track. So there were like constant reviews, iterations, updates, and I made sure that we were on track of completing the essays on the timelines that we had decided.
15 days sounds very fast to complete each school's application. How were you able to find the time to do it while handling your job?
Yeah, yeah. So what we did was a strategy where we created an entire story of what my life looks like, what my education looks like, what my career aspirations look like, and what my previous experience looked like. So we kind of and we created the resume beforehand. So it was a standard resume that we use for all the schools. So the resume didn't have to be created again and again. So we spent before applying to the schools, we spent enough time to kind of get a very good handle on what are some of the key nuances of my life that are important, and also definitely completing the resume beforehand. And in the 15 days the way I tackled the application was I used to, apart from the job, which was most of my day, I spent extra time in the morning. So I used to wake up early and spend 2 3 hours in the morning, early morning, to prepare for my applications. And I used to spend 2 3 hours at night after my job to work on my application. So I think it was a very tough period for about 3 to 4 months, starting from the GMAT to all the applications, where I had to spend time before my job and spend time after my job to work on the applications and make sure that they were looking good.
Subham, let's now turn to the endeavor that you mentioned earlier that you are embarking upon. When did you decide that this artistic endeavor would be something you'd like to dedicate your life to?
So I knew that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, as I said previously. So I started this company part time when I was working a full time job. I started this company in March of 2022, and having worked um, for the startup for about 1.5 years before joining Wharton, I understood from my research and from the feedback that we were getting from our target market, that this is something that they are really interested in. There was no company out there. Even now, there are only few companies out there that focus on creating products while making sure that they are contributing back to the society, they're contributing back to the environment, and they're contributing to uh, uplift the cultural heritage of a particular region or a particular country. So, you know, a lot of we have a lot of confidence that the endeavor that I am going on, it's meaningful because there is evidence from companies like Patagonia and then ASOP, that it is important for us as individuals and as a society to think about how can we make sure that our consumption is more conscious. Um, and uh, and because of this reason of conscious consumption and delivering customers the things that they need while making sure we are creating a positive environment and positive social impact, that's when I decided that okay, this is something that I'm really passionate about. This is something that I really want to try. I don't know how successful this company will be or how I will be because you never know. Startups are really difficult, but I definitely wanted to try this and see where it goes.
Subham, I'm sure our listeners would very much like to know how specifically you came upon this business idea. Please feel free to share with us how you came upon it, what you're doing now, and your hopes for it.
Yes. So I was I was born in a family in northeastern India in a small village, and growing up, uh, we had a lot of exposure to art, uh, craft, and handiwork by going to different exhibitions and different fairs that were organized by the government of India to support the rural artists and rural artisans. And after visiting all these fairs, I noticed that these artisans and artists were creating intricate handicraft products, but they were struggling to make ends meet because of limited resources, machinery, tools, and education. This struggle edged in my memory. Wanted or pushed me to start Alokya after working in the US for 5 years and gaining the perspectives and experience that was required. So Alokya is a sustainable functional art brand that collaborates with traditional South Asian artisans to make premium handcrafted products um, using biodegradable materials. And we are we are a brand that is in the mission of uplifting the cultural heritage of the South Asian region, while making sure the art forms are not extinct. Um, and consider this: there are like about 5 million South Asians in the US, and this is a community which is deeply culturally rooted to South Asia, and they have a very high disposable income. Uh, and the demand for products from South Asia have been evident by the success of brands like Dior and Pottery Barn, who are coming up with consumer products in the traditional South Asian line. Um, and Alokya enters this space with premium handcrafted products like scented candles in terracotta jars, wooden coasters, bamboo boxes, and so on. And we are constantly excited about expanding our product range. And we had a team of 4 people, each having masters in their respective fields. We have sold more than 1,000 orders through website, through Etsy, and through our strategic partnerships. Uh, and we aim to constantly grow, in this market. Uh, in this motivation, we are focusing on social empowerment, cultural celebration, and we believe that our target customers are equally excited about getting products which are beautiful, which are useful, which contribute to the environment, to the society, and definitely want to stay connected to the culture. So I think there is a huge market out there in the US that we still need to focus on and we can capture, and we are really excited about the great things to come.
Oh, that is wonderful. Shaboom, feel free to share with our listeners where they can see the products that you are selling.
Yeah, so you can definitely see our products on various platforms. First, our website, which is www.alokya.com, alokya.com. And then you can find our products on Amazon and Etsy. And we are also working on some strategic partnerships with brands like Anthropology and Target and so on, which we'll see how that goes, and we'll probably have those in there as well.
Wonderful. Are you still able to maintain operations while you've been in school at Wharton?
So yeah, we are able to manage our operations in India and the US both. I am working on this part time as a Wharton MBA student, but we have a full time co-founder. She is based out of India and she manages the India operations. And there are a few other people in the organization who manage the marketing, the content, and the supply chain for us. So we are like a passionate team, and we try to make sure that even if we are working part time or full time, we are dedicating time to grow this organization.
That's wonderful. Shubham, let's take a step back. Coming from the Indian style education system at IIT towards the American style education at Columbia, did you find that educational adjustment, the difference in pedagogy, to be very challenging?
I did not actually. The professors at IITs are mostly, or if you'll, I'll say 99% are PhDs and postgraduates, and also like post doctorates from institutes in the United States. So pretty much everyone has an advanced degree from a US institution, and IITs are established or were established in a way that they followed a more US standards. So we have the same kind of a semester system, we have the same kind of GPA system, and then we have courses which are similar to the US institutions. The only difference is in IITs, there is a lot of focus on theoretical theoretical approach, where the lecture based approach, if you will, and there is less focused on applications, and there's less focused on what the industry is doing. And this is because the IITs are mostly government institutions, and they don't have the sheer amount of money and resources, if you will, as compared to the Ivy Leagues, which have endowments of multi-billion dollars. Even then, I think there is a lot of, I would say, self-driven approach at IITs, where students still try to, do part-time internships, co-ops, and so on. So coming to the US, it was not very difficult for me. Rather it was easy, I would say, because I really wanted to get into the mindset of how these theories apply to the industry, to the businesses, and so on. And I already was aware of the semester system, and the entire education system in India is also in English, so the language was not a barrier, and I think everything went really well.
Oh, I see. That's great. In the United States, even within the Ivy League, schools have different personalities. How would you compare the method of study at Columbia versus the one currently at the University of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, definitely. So my master's at Columbia was a very technical degree, because it was with the engineering school, um, and currently my MBA is at Wharton, which is a more broader degree in terms of the content rather than a very technical or a very in-depth degree. So at Columbia, the focus was on learning the different nuances of how things work in terms of mathematics, statistics, and programming languages like such as Python and R, which can be used to arrive at conclusions that leveraging data and so on. So it was very lecture based approach. There were a lot of projects which were solved using industry data, but most of them were technical. Whereas at Wharton, the classes are very very nuanced in the sense that management and marketing classes follow a case based approach. So there is a lot of discussion and there is a lot of conversation involved in the class, where the professor facilitates the discussion and makes sure that we are pushing our horizons to come up with innovative solutions. Then there is the finance and accounting classes, which are a bit more lecture based, but at the same time, there are a few cases that we discuss as well, but they're more lecture based and so on. And then there are classes which are, which are of, I would say, cutting edge topics such as venture capital, private equity, and then applied marketing and so on. So these courses are a very good mix of using using the lectures, using the cases, having discussions, but at the same time, a very important component is having speakers from the industry who are experts in their fields. So if there is a applied marketing class, there'll be a speaker who has worked in the marketing field for about 20 years or so. If there is a venture capital class, there is a person who has worked in the venture capital field for about more than 15 years. So there is a very important component of these speakers who come to the class and talk about how the industry is evolving, what are the trends that they are seeing, what is in the industry for the next 5 to 10 years, and how can we as Wharton students, if thinking to pursue a career in that field, can be successful. So I think by the nature of the program itself, the MBA is a very I would say mixed program where different approaches are used to teach, whereas the master's program mostly in all universities is a more lecture based oriented program and less discussion based. But what is unique about Wharton is, and what I love about Wharton is, I think it's very, very different from other business schools because we don't shy away from teaching the course in a way it should be taught. Um, and at Wharton, every course is adopted a very unique approach of teaching. If there is a communications class, you actually present, like if like five times throughout the semester or throughout the quarter, instead of listening to lectures. So I think Wharton does it a very good job in making sure that the topic or the class is aligned to the way it is being taught.
That is fascinating. That is, and it is somewhat different from what we've heard from guests who studied at other business schools. Subham, next year when you're taking electives, what are you most looking forward to studying?
Yeah. So there are three topics that I'm really interested and passionate about. Um, One is entrepreneurship, which I've pretty much taken most of the courses at Wharton, and there are a couple more which I'm really excited about taking next year and I would say next quarter. Um, and the second one is finance, focusing on venture capital. So I'm really excited about early stage VC, really excited about valuations, and really excited about buyouts and acquisitions from a private equity standpoint. And then the third one is marketing management. Um, I think Wharton has a great department of marketing, and given that I'm focusing on consumer sector, I am really excited about taking courses in marketing from a strategic brand management standpoint, digital marketing standpoint, and then probability models in marketing standpoint. So these are the three areas that I'll be focusing on, and I'm sure they'll be really useful in terms of building a startup and also focusing on investing in the long run if I want to become an investor.
Subham, you've been very kind to share so much with us. What do you feel is your definition of success?
Yeah, for me, a major I would define success in three different buckets. The first one is being able to build a company that contributes back to the environment and to the society. Coming from a small village in North India, and having the privilege of studying at the top institutions of India and the United States, and having getting experience from the top organizations in the world. I believe that this is my responsibility and my obligation to create impact for for the communities that have been a part of, and to contribute back to the world, if you will. The second one is I really want to become a mentor or an adjunct professor at a business school or an engineering school, depending on what the topic at the time is when I am 20 years into my career. I really want to help students uh, learn, succeed, and become, I would say, leaders and managers in the topics that they're interested in. And it would be a privilege for me to be able to contribute to their success. And the third one I would say is I really want to become an investor as well in the long run, 20 years or 30 years in my career, because I believe that being an investor allows you to focus on economic impact, social impact, and staying at the forefront of innovation and technology. In terms of economic impact, you can basically change the future of industries, of companies, of the entire economy of the entire country, pretty much. uh, it also has a very important social aspect. If you're building a plant, or a hydroelectric plant or a solar plant in Africa, you're contributing not just to the betterment of the country, but you're also contributing towards the betterment of the entire society where the plant is. So that's the social impact. And the third one is just the technological innovation and so on. I believe that being an investor, you uh, have to be aware of what's going on from a macroeconomic, microeconomic, and industry standpoint, and you need to be at the cutting edge of technology and innovation. And I would love to be in that area, because I really believe that professional growth and development is something that I would definitely prioritize, till I'm on this planet.
That is fascinating, Shubham. I'd like to thank you for sharing so much with us and our listeners. We'd like to wish you the very best in your studies as well as in your future endeavors. And once again, listeners, please go to the site that Shubham mentioned earlier in our interview and take a look at some of the offerings from his businesses. Thank you, Shubham.
Thank you so much, Michael and the team, for having me. It was a real pleasure, and I hope to support the students in their journey of becoming successful.